And I want to start it off by talking about the reptilian Dracos that you have a lot of experience with, Randy.
Well, I mean, probably the first I'd learned about them was just hearing, rumors and scuttlebutts and so forth about them. But my first experience of them was when I was in the MDF, when they actually attempted an invasion of Mars. We were basically about to have a big fight between a group of Terran humans, a group of indigenous reptoids, and a group of indigenous insectoids. This dropship came down, and it was a whole drama affair, but that was my first time experiencing them and seeing them.
And for the audience, the MDF is?
Mars Defense Force, correct.
Okay.
My function is to be more diplomatic on everything. So you've been to the military and you are still in the military?
Absolutely, yes, still have active duty rank and security clearance, correct.
Perfect. What do you think is the actual relationship, the Dracos to human people right now?
Right now, minimal. I would say we probably started the eradication of the Draconians within Terran space in the late 90s or early 2000s. And from what I understand, there's less than 100 of them on the surface of the Earth right now, and they're being hunted down. So I consider them to be an old problem. Most often when people want to talk about them or their influence, you're really talking about the past and not much that is relevant to the future. Doesn't mean that they're not a problem in the larger universe, because they're still out there, but we have ejected them from our primary space, and they're not nearly as much of a problem here as they ever were in the past, that's for sure.
So to my understanding and what I've heard is that the Dracos are still active in the universe, and they still are trying to bring their system over certain planets.
Absolutely.
Can you agree on that?
Absolutely. No, I would consider of the larger intergalactic threats, yeah, they're a top 10 for sure. They're a top 10 intergalactic threat to anybody, anywhere, I would have to say.
Yeah, all right. I've learned a lot about them from the perspective of the Greys. Mm-hmm. I also learned from different sources that they opposed some kind of installation upon Earth, mm-hmm. which means they influence the system that Earth has.
Mm-hmm.
So the Greys accused them, or at least, well, from their perspective, there had been some modifications on the social structure system of the Earth.
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah, that would be over time. I mean, there are certain people who have talked about the history of the Draconians influencing human culture. That's very true. I think that
they go way back.
Yeah, way back.
Yeah.
The kind of influence or breeding within the blue bloods or the royal families, that's correct from what I understand. So they have had an influence, and certainly a negative social influence that is what I would say is away from the intergalactic norm of moving towards type 1 civilization, which they have, pushed to keep us from getting to type 1 civilization, because that makes the species more controllable. But again, yeah, that's the history of, and definitely something that influenced us over time. But even though if they're physically not as much of a problem, yeah, they left their fingerprint for sure. And so some of the things we're dealing with in finance, banking, hierarchical structures, military governmental structures, we're still dealing with the mess that they left for sure.